Hey, Josh Tigg, Run T Farms. Morning cattle move here. Beautiful Saturday morning. Sun's coming up. Got 3/10 of an inch of rain last night. Calling for us to get about another 2 inches over the next couple of days. But I wanted to talk just a little bit this morning with the mild weather we've been experiencing and all the rain we've been getting. We are starting to see regrowth on our grass behind these cows. I don't hardly know if you can see it real well in the picture here. So where this video here is, I can see it. There's a nice green tint here in this this section, which is only about 2 days behind the cows. So I thought I would get down here maybe and show you a little bit closer if I find a so you can see right here that grass is making new growth. It's grown probably probably an inch in the last couple of days here. Not that spring has sprung and we're on the way to new grass. We will have some more cold weather, but that's when the grass is vulnerable right there, right at that stage. So we've been setting a back fence after every grazing sale for the last about a week. Most of these sales here that we're grazing is about a 3-day grazing sale. So after they will have access to what they have grazed for around 3 days, and then we will set a back fence and they won't have access. So this is back fenced out. There's no they won't have access to this because the grass is starting to regrow. So I would take just a second to explain my definition of overgrazing and severe grazing, or a high utilization grazing, if you will. So as you can see, we've grazed that grass down to, there's about an inch, but we've left the crowns, the crowns of that grass where the energy stores are, that helps with regrowth along with all of the energy that's in the roots, is what's going to prompt this regrowth on this grass. So this grass had probably 200 plus days of rest. This is on the farm that we leased. So the previous leaser had some cows on here till about June or July. It was kind of lightly grazed. He was in the process for over a few months before that of getting his cattle off of this farm. So it was lightly grazed then, and we left it to stockpile from then until now when we're grazing it. So it was fully recovered. Should have stocked the roots up. So we come in here and we grazed it at a high utilization grazing, a severe grazing, meaning that we aim to harvest just as much of the plant as we possibly can. But we're also going to not be back here grazing this until this plant has fully recovered. So my definition of overgrazing is grazing a plant before it has had time to recover from the previous grazing. And so we seek to avoid that at all costs. Do we always get it done? Maybe not always, but we've really improved our reduction in overgrazing. That's one of the biggest benefits to non-selective grazing, is you just virtually eliminate the overgrazing. The animal impact and the nutrient cycling greatly increases. I don't know if you can see all that manure distribution there, and it's just an amazing thing that happens when you start non-selective grazing. The amount of grass that you're able to grow and the amount of animals that you're able to carry on your farm greatly increases without increasing cost. But I will say it can't all be good. most of your modern genetics, and we're still sorting through that ourselves. We have cows that just can't thrive in this type of system. We're going to ask them to work for us, and we're going to ask them to improve the land. And it takes a different kind of cow than what most of us have, what I had when I started out. I wish I would have got started down the genetic road of non-selective grazing a little sooner. One of those deals where you kind of want to try it out and see if it's if what these grazers around the world who practice non-selective grazing say. You know, we're always, well, I don't live in those areas, but the genetic change will have to happen in order to utilize the grass fully and improve the land while having a productive animal. You will have to change the genotype of your animal, I would say. And the quicker that you get started on that, the better. So I wish I would have done it, you know, several years before I started. We're still have a lot of cows to get rid of that just can't handle it, but we are slowly but surely weeding those out. So if anybody was, you know, on the fence about non-selective grazing, if you could take any advice from me, which I know that everybody's probably like myself. I have to do it for myself. I can't strictly take somebody's advice, but I would say non-selective grazing, if done correctly, with alternating season-long rest periods and harvesting stockpile, will absolutely improve your land the fastest of anything I've seen. I've tried, you know, take half, leave half, take a third, leave a third. I've never seen as much improvement in the land and an increase in your stocking rate, the carrying capacity and stocking rate of our farm as I did with non-selective grazing. But the downside is you will have to change your genetics, which I don't think it's a downside. What we've found is that's the type of animal that can thrive in our system, and we've got some animals now that are thriving in this, and we've got some that are surviving, and we're going to get rid of those survivors, and we're going to have a breed and adapted herd of cattle here that just are in sync with our farm and our ecosystem, that's not reliant on a lot of crutches to keep them productive. And we're headed that way, and we couldn't be happier with the progress, except for when you're working with cattle, the turnover is a little bit shorter. It takes a little bit longer to get the new stuff bred in and to get rid of some of the older genetics that just aren't working as well. So we're headed that way. Just wanted to make everybody aware, if you are grazing, depending on where you're at. I got kind of sidetracked there, but if you're starting to see any regrowth in that grass, you need to be setting a back fence. We've found once the grass starts growing, you know, really fast, we have to set a back fence about every 3 days. We had been not even using a back fence while we were grazing stockpile when the grass was dormant and we wasn't seeing regrowth. But that's changed very quickly here over the last week. So we have started setting a back fence every 3 days. The grass is beginning to grow, and we can't be overgrazing that grass once it starts regrowing. So everybody have a great weekend. As always, you can check us out online at runningtbeef.com. You can like us on Facebook at Running T Beef. If you're watching on YouTube, click that like and subscribe button on your way out, and everybody have a great weekend.